Hi, my tiny loves. I'm back again with a picture book, and this is another one that I found at Auntie Abby's house, and it's called The Princess Knight. There she is. And this one is by Cornelia, Funke, and Kerstin Meyer. All right. She is Princess Knight by Cornelia, Funke, illustrations by Kerstin Meyer. See the castle there. Perfect. King Wilfred the Worthy had 3 sons. He brought them up just as his father had brought him up, and they were taught all the things that he had been taught. He wanted them to be better than his best knights. They learned riding and jousting and fighting with swords and good table manners, too. They learned how to stride around proudly and how to shout very loudly. And perhaps most important for princes, they learned how to give orders to their nursemaids, their servants, their dogs, and their horses. So, there he is with his 3 sons. Here we have learning how to do that. And then down here we have table manners and giving instructions. All right. Then Queen Violetta had a daughter, but the queen died when the baby was born, so the little girl was called Violetta. No one would dare tell a king how to do anything, especially raise his own little girl, so he decided to teach her the same lessons that he had taught his sons. So there's Queen Violetta. She's dying, so he's so sad. There's the baby right there. And then over here, look, there's him with the little girl. And then look, did you see all of these in the background? Little paintings. Even though she was so small, she could hardly lift a sword at all. Her brothers teased her and called her names. Itsy bitsy little Vi, little girl can't hurt a fly. And they would boast that they were so strong, and even the most spirited horse would obey them. So there she is. She's teasing her. Having brothers is hard sometimes. Then they'd strike the heads off practice dummies so hard that the heads would fly right over the castle walls. And they would laugh and laugh and laugh at their little sister as she struggled to mount a horse in her heavy armor, as if it were the funniest thing they'd ever seen. So here they are, walloping off heads of the practice dummies. And then you can see the wall, and then there's these people on the other side of the wall catching the heads. Look, there's a puppy. Putting the heads into a bag. Some vines and some trees, and then here they're laughing at her as she's trying to get on a horse. But horses are very, very big. Have you ever been by a real horse? It's humongous. Oh, Emma, said Violetta to her nursemaid one evening while Emma soothed the little girl's bruises. I'll never be as strong as my brothers. Not as strong, maybe, but you're 3 times as clever, said Emma sensibly. Why not ask your father to stop teaching you all those silly fighting and let you learn something else instead? Embroidery, perhaps, or weaving, or playing the flute, something useful. But Violetta shook her head. No, 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 she said. That would only make my brothers laugh louder. So Emma said no more, for she knew the princess was more determined than all 3 princes put together. Here's where she took off all of her night stuff, and now she's laying out there. Well, she's the biggest headboard I've ever seen in my life. Well, she's getting her bruises done too. Look, she has a black eye, and this lady has a very fun hat. All right. From that night on, Violetta slipped out of the castle in secret while the rose gardener's son kept watch for her. She started to practice all the things her brothers could already do so much better. Violetta practiced in her own way, without shouting and without using her spurs. Indeed, she was very quiet as a night itself. All right, so here she is sneaking out. You can see the rose gardener's son. And then here she is getting on, practicing her riding. And then getting off of the horse. And then practicing with her sword. It's just a little fighting montage. Gotta love it. So, while her brothers grew as tall and strong as King Wilfred's knights, Violetta, who stayed quite small, got better at fighting and riding every day, and her father's horses loved to carry her on their backs. Violetta became so nimble and quick that when her 3 brothers practiced jousting with her, their spears and swords would just hit empty air, and the princes soon stopped laughing at her, and they stopped calling her Itsy Bitsy Little Vi. So here we go, and you can see this one here with the yellow on the horse. That's Violetta. Everybody's missing because she's so good at swerving. And there they all are, and she's just prancing along, swinging her sword. Then came the day before Violetta's 16th birthday, and the king asked to see her. "Violetta," said King Wilfred, "I'm going to hold a jousting tournament in honor of your birthday. The victory prize will bring the bravest knights in the land flocking to the castle." "What will the prize be, father?" asked Violetta, wondering which horse she would ride and which of her suits of armor would be the lightest and which plume she would wear in her helmet. "The prize," said King Wilfred, "will be your hand in marriage. So put on your finest gown and practice your prettiest smile." So they're taking off her armor and then putting her into this. This is like a room divider thing for her to change behind. And then look, she's got space buns. And here's all the land. And there she is with her father. And there's all those thoughts swirling around her head. Oh, do you see the little puppy? Cute. Violetta turned as red as the roses beside the castle moor. "What?" she cried. "You want me to marry some dimwit in a tin suit? Just look at your own knights. They whip their horses and they can't even write their own names." But her father was so angry that he locked Violetta up in the castle tower by herself. Not until the moon was shining high in the sky did the king tell Violetta's youngest brother to go let her out. "Stop crying, little sister," said Violetta's brother. "I'll make sure to win the tournament myself. You certainly can't marry me." But Violetta shook her head and wiped her eyes on the hem of her dress. "Thank you," she said, "but I think I'd better just see to it myself." So there she is, hollering at the man who is her dad, but is also going to marry her off to some rando. So, you know, if there's ever a time that you should be yelling, it's probably then. And then here we have her talking. Look at her brother's haircut, and also look at her space buns. And they have little skinny legs, and I think that that's a really cute drawing. Look at that in the tower. The next day, the field behind the castle was crowded with knights who had come to fight in the tournament. King Wilfred sat down to watch. Little did he know that it wasn't Violetta who sat beside him. It was her nursemaid Emma. She wore Violetta's best dress and a veil over her face. The real Violetta had put on her blackest armor and straddled her favorite horse. And she rode into the arena with the other knights and gave herself the title as Sir No Name. So here we have all of the knights. Can you spot her? Right here. And then here we have the king and fake Violetta. It's giving the, like, Anakin Skywalker Star Wars movies. Princess Amidala. Okay, look at these little toodlers' hats, how flat they are on the top. That's very cute. Oh, look at this. Oh, I thought that this flag was coming from the top of this guy's head. I don't think it's supposed to be. Trumpets sounded and the tournament to win the princess's hand began. Knight after knight rode into the arena. Sigurd the strong, Harold the hardy, Percy the pitiless, but Sir No Name defeated them all. He even knocked the king's sons off their horses and into the dust. By the end, there was no one left who was willing to fight, and Sir No Name rode over to the king to receive the victory prize. So here we have it. Remember, Sir No Name is here. You can see wearing the pink cape. I like all the different dresses on these horses. They are very fancy. I like that they're all different colors. Look at this poor guy getting knocked off. Ugh, has green in his face. And then here's the rest of the knights who've had a bad day. Look at this horse. He's like, ugh. And this horse is like, I give up. Get out of here. This is not fun for me. And this knight over here is like, oi. And then look. And this, look at the little feet on her horse. Where do you come from, Sir No Name? Asked the king. You have brought honor to your family, and my daughter should think herself lucky to have your hand in marriage. Oh, I don't think so, Sir No Name replied, raising his helmet. Hello, father, said Violetta. What's the prize for a princess knight? And for the first time in his life, her father, the king, was speechless. There are some people watching, and there she is, with her pink cape and her bowing horse. There we go, and then look, Emma the nursemaid is taking off her disguise. Violetta turned to the defeated knights, sitting battered and bruised on their horses. Very well, she said. I shall choose my own prize. So there's the king and her with her little top-knot bun. And there are all the other defeated knights in their cute horse dresses. Look at this one's straggly hair. I love it. I hereby proclaim that no one will ever win Princess Violetta's hand in marriage without first defeating Sir No Name. And she turned on her horse and rode away, far, far away. And she didn't return for a year and a day. And when she did, why, her father, King Wilfred the Worthy, gave her a horse as black as her armor, and nobody, not even her brothers, challenged the princess ever again. And who did she marry? Well, if you must know, many years later, she married the rose gardener's son and lived happily ever after. So there she is coming back to her dad. They're hugging. There's a horse. And then there she is with the rose gardener's son when they got married and lived happily ever after. And look at her cute wedding dress. And that, my tiny friends, is the end of that book. And that's, oh, can I see this? And that's the end. I hope you liked it a lot. And remember, if anybody's trying to marry you off, just go learn how to fight and then just like defeat everyone. And then nobody can marry you off. You're welcome. That's some life advice. I love you.